So Karen, please, I mean, I know I've told people what you are, but could you tell us what you do for a business?
Yeah, so I'm going to just rewind 14 years. I started out in business back in 2006, but the business I had then is not the business I had now. As a business, I am a book mentor, or I am the book mentor, and I work with business owners who want to write a book that helps them to stand out, to build their business, to make a bigger difference, leave a legacy, and get noticed in the best possible way. I take them, a lot of people think, oh, you're a publisher, you're an editor, and I'm not. I help people normally write in the early stages. When they go, I want to write a book, I've got no idea where to start. I've got no idea what to do first. And I take them through the whole process to actually writing a book that actually builds their business as they write it, which is the key thing. A lot of people write a book and then they think, I'm going to publish it, then I'm going to promote it. No, there's so much you can do when you write it. So I help with the marketing and also the launch as well.
Fantastic. And I've been lucky enough to be part of your one of your email sequences, and the knowledge that you give out there just in those emails alone, it's worth just getting subscribed just for that. I mean, imagine what you're like working with you. It's like, whoa, but fantastic. And so I mean, what was your previous business then? Are you able to tell us?
Well, it's the previous business is just my business evolved. I trained as a coach in 2006, did my NLP qualifications, and it was my NLP masters that led me to writing my first book in 2009. And that took me 18 months of who am I to write a book, going round and round in circles, being overwhelmed with information, to actually having it in my hand 18 months later and stood up in front of 70 people at my book launch party. Whilst I was writing book number 3 a couple of years later, some of my clients, I was business coaching at the time, some of my clients were saying, Karen, you've written a couple of books, how did you do it? And I went, well, it's easy, because you forget the pain, don't you? You forget the pain you went through the first time. So I got to that stage, and I had so many people ask me for their help that I evolved into the book mentor. And I think one of the things that I find really easy is to help people to find that sparkle, that idea that helps them stand out. Whereas when you're in it yourself with your own knowledge, your own expertise, you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see the thing that makes you different, because the thing that you find easy is the thing that people need to know about. So for me, it's about mining through, to find that diamond. To use one of my clients' metaphors, to find one of those diamonds that helps you to sparkle and helps you to stand out.
And that's so true, because I mean, many a business owner I've come across, and especially like when we talk about things like social media, and they say, well, I don't know what to say. And then I ask them a few choice questions, and before you know it, they're singing like, it's like, listen, stop, let me record this, and then I'll send you the transcription, because you're right, you don't unlock the gold within yourself unless someone kind of prods you for it. Which is
absolutely,
pretty much what you say. So your inspiration then came from other people being inspired by what you had done.
Yeah. So I've written 6 books now, plus a planner, which I showed you a moment ago, and the journal as well, which I launched earlier this year. And I've got another book that is percolating at the moment.
Hold on a minute. So how long does it on average take you to? I mean, obviously the first book was 18 months. Yeah. Have you got quicker now? I mean, how long did it take you to put together a?
The second and third one took about 6 months each. The fourth one took me 2.5 years, but that was a longer burn. That was kind of one that wasn't really business related. It was my personal story. Yeah. So that took a bit longer. For me, I write at my best when I go away and write. I was away 2 years ago this week actually, and I wrote 20 or so thousand words in about 3 days. So I work best in that way. So it's just finding out what works for you. Most of my clients take about a year.
When you go away, expand on that, please. Go away where?
Well, I went to the New Forest, but I do run a writing retreat in Spain in normal times.
Oh my God!
Obviously, we've not done that for a couple of years now, but in normal times, we run a writing retreat in Spain. So that is a great place to write.
Oh, Karen,
mountains.
You're inspiring me to get saving. Let me know when that's.
Hopefully next year. The plans, we normally do it in September, so I'm hoping that we might be able to do it again next year. Fingers crossed.
Because I've said the same thing. I would love to scoop up my laptop, find a caravan in the most remote part of the UK with Wi-Fi, and just get on. Because I think you are inspired by location, by how you feel. You know, obviously when you at work or in England, you're like, "Nyeh," or when you're doing your business, you're always thinking, what should I do? But most certainly having that time to step away and say, right, oh, that's great. Oh, Karen, tell you what, I'll be coming to Spain with you. Karen Bourne says hi. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen.
Thanks for joining us. Karen, you should write a book.
I've known Karen for a long time, so yeah, she should write a book.
She should write. She has a book. She's got a couple of books in her.
I know.
Did she tell you that she used to manhandle? What do they call it? In fact, I'm going to let her tell you what that is. Karen, you used to do something where you handled men. And that's all I'm going to say for now. So obviously, you started to help others with putting their books together. What have been some of the challenges that you've had with that, with the business itself, in terms of getting?
Oh gosh, there's been huge challenges. You know, certainly during the early days before I was doing the book mentoring, was actually finding my feet. And I think a lot of people find that when, you know, what is your niche? What is your area of expertise? What do you do well? I certainly, in the first few years, I struggled with that, which is what led me to my first book, to be honest, because I modeled the mindset behind a successful coaching business. And I interviewed some amazing coaches in the UK and the States to find out their secrets. Most recently, being too busy. Certainly when I launched my 5th book, it really exploded my business, and I was so busy that, you know, too busy. And I think that's a good problem to have, but also quite a difficult problem to have. Yeah. So that's some of the challenges I've had along the journey.
So I imagine some of those golden nuggets that those coaches shared with you would have probably gone down the route of processes, automations, getting things done. Are you kind of looking at that now in terms of to manage that? No,
it wasn't actually. It was about mindset. There's a lot around mindset, niching, being really clear on your ideal client. So a lot of the fundamentals that people know about, but they don't necessarily employ. One of the big things very much early on, and I struggled with this in you know, when I started out my very first business, is who's your ideal client? Who, you know, what problem do you solve? How do you help people? And I found that really hard. You know, I originally niched. I thought, oh, I'll work with women, you know, women who need better work-life balance. And that's like 50% of the country. So, you know, it's like, you know, or maybe 40. And actually it's too broad. And I find that with a lot of clients now is they want to be all things to all people. But my most successful clients are those that have niched. They're absolutely, totally clear what they do. They've got a small but very responsive niche. They know exactly what problem they solve. They can leverage their book. That's the most successful clients I get. So yeah, processes and systems are really important. But knowing what you're doing and who you serve is probably more important. Until you know, if you don't know that, you can't put the systems in place, the funnels, the email sequences and all of that that you mentioned, because you've got to have the fundamentals in place first. You've got to know. And it does come down to mindset. Whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
Absolutely. I mean, mindset, you know, and I work with some of my students, it's literally that's stopping them. More so than anything else, technology, lack of this. It's that, because the fear, the power that has over the rest of the body, it's unknown. It's like, wow, you know, it's a superpower.
And I find that with my clients as well. You know, it's the overwhelm, the thought of writing a book. It's the fear of, you know, what will people say about it. All of that. Who am I to write a book? All of those things are things that, you know, I've got too much information, I've not got enough information. All of these are things that people struggle with on a day-to-day basis.
Of course.
That's what I help them to overcome. I've got a proven 10 principle system that I take people through, which helps them to overcome all of the stuckness, all of the things that they can struggle with. Because I've seen it in all of my authors over the last 7 years.
So it actually feels more like you are offering a coaching service alongside a book writing or book.
It is a coaching service. It is, you know, my background is as a coach, so I always bring that in. The thing about coaching and mentoring is you don't know what you don't know. So I can't coach someone and say, oh, you know, what do you think you should do, when there is a shortcut, a way that's going to make it easy for people. But I was working with a client around his metaphor recently, exploring it in a little bit more detail to actually help him to get out the other side and see the progress, see the future. Offering advice and saying, oh, you should do this, because ultimately it needs to come from him.
Of course.
So there's the combination of the coaching and the mentoring that I do in tandem with each other.
Fantastic.
I share something with you, Nigel. I interviewed Michael Neal for my first book, and he said, we talked about how you, as a coach, as a mentor, we need to learn, we need to study. And he said something like, if you've got 8 ways of getting stuck and I've got 9 ways of getting you unstuck, I win. You win. Totally important.
I love that. Michael O'Neill.
Michael Neal. If you haven't heard of Michael Neal, gosh, super coach. You've not heard of Michael Neal?
I watch far too much football. I ain't got time to be. Yeah, to be fair, it's not. There's so many coaches out there, so many great names. It's I can't keep track of them.
He's one of the real great names in the States.
Okay, I shall look him up. Michael Neal. I'm just making a little note here. Oh, my favourite question actually. Tell us one thing about you that not many people know about.
So, there's not a lot that people don't know about if they've read my books.
Oh, okay. Well, that means that there's, unless you've sold 8 billion books.
So yeah, I went 2012. I did a project called A Year to Live, which was based on a book by a guy called Stephen Levine, who he and his wife used to work with terminally ill cancer patients, and he thought, why wait until your final days to live your best life? So he and his wife did a project. So back in 2012, me and a couple of friends of mine, we did this project, and I took it to extremes really. I did things that really scared me. I am petrified of heights. Yeah, I did a parachute jump, a skydive, a tandem parachute jump during that year. I signed up to do Machu Picchu, the Inca Trail. I went skiing for the first time. I became a firewalk instructor. So I think one of the things I learned, and one of the biggest things for me over the last 9 years, is that we never know when our time's up. So actually being able to do the things that really push us are the things that are going to help us to get the best results. My dad died the year after, just before I went and did the Inca Trail. So for me, that was, it's always that realization that you never know when your time's up, that you need to make the most of your life. And that's a philosophy that I take, every day now, because for sharing something like your story, you're going to impact on people's lives. Sharing your wisdom, you're going to change people's lives. Sharing the things that have gone wrong for you, you're going to change people's lives and your own by writing a book. That's what it's all about.
Thank you for sharing that, because it's something I strongly believe in myself, in that you don't know, you just don't know. And recently relates to me is when my dad was diagnosed with dementia 10 years ago. That was the catalyst for myself. But thanks for sharing that. That's really powerful. Firewalk instructor, helping people to walk on hot coals. I know. I did it once. I ran my first event during that year. I would never do it again because it's a lot of work and it's not where I wanted to take my business. But actually, it's an amazing opportunity to actually help people to walk on hot coals successfully and carefully and safely. I'm trying to think of an appropriate song. She's a firewalker. Twisted firewalker. Wow, that's amazing. I honestly, we're gonna have to talk a bit more about that another time. Wow. Okay. So if someone was crazy enough right now. In fact, before we ask you this question, hey Zoe, thanks for joining us. Thank you, mate. It's a brilliant interview, guys. Karen Williams is awesome. She was an amazing guest on my show, and you can see why she truly is the book mentor. I have to say it slow. It just sounds really cool. Karen Williams, the book mentor. Anyway, right. So, if someone was crazy enough right now to want to start their own business, what are the 3 key bits of advice that you would give them to kind of hold at the front of what they're doing?
I would definitely say for most people, writing a book is something that happens when you're more established. So that's not something I would recommend people do straight away unless you have got a story to tell. And some people do. I'm working with one client at the moment who's going to be creating a business off the back of her book. Most important 3 things are niching. We talked about this already. Being absolutely not just niching, but being really clear on who you're serving through your business, who you're helping, what problem you're solving, and what outcome you're going to give them. That is the key thing. Secondly, is to build your credibility. And most people, certainly I found with my clients, is they've got credibility already in their area of expertise. So they're already working with the clients that they're helping through their book. And then it's just making sure everything is aligned, so people get to know what you do. So if you rock up on a networking meeting and you give your 60 seconds, or whether people look at your website or they go to your Facebook page, everything is totally aligned. So that for me is really key. Is about developing that I suppose it's really one big thing, your persona, your thing that you stand for, the thing you want to get known for.
Yeah.
Once you've established that, it's the perfect time to write a book. But as I found, you know, your business trajectory can change. And I wrote my first book and published it 10 years ago. It's still out there, it still sells. It's not as relevant to what I do now, but it's still got valuable information. And even if you do write a book and your business evolves, that's fine. You just write another one, as I found.
You make it sound so easy. I honestly, I'm feeling, you know, I've got a pad here, and I'm thinking, what do I make a start today? Do I make a start today? But I'll tell you what, we're going to have a conversation about a book, because I have several stories in me.
I can imagine.
Having been born in the 70s, you know, fun times, and the 80s and the 90s. Bloody hell.
I know. I was talking to my husband yesterday. It's just like, and I've just had a birthday, and it's just like, oh, I've been driving for quite a few years. There was a 0 on it, and it wasn't 20.
Oh, bless. You know something? It's the thing is, it is true. We do get better with age. We just, I think you get to a certain point in your life, and with the, especially with the mindset, you get to a point where no one else's opinion matters, which means that you're able to just be free to do and take action. Normally it hits people when they're retired, because, like, you know, there's this story of like the grumpy old pensioner who just tells you how it is. But I think if you can bring that forward to your 30s or even your 40s and just remove that caring about everybody else and what they say, oh, you've got a different life. But age ain't nothing but a number, girl. It's nothing but a number.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, is there anything that the people who watch this or you're watching now can do to help you right now?
Nothing they can do to help me right now. However, I do have a brand new program starting very soon that might interest people. So if you're sat there thinking, I want to write a book, I don't know where to get started, I don't think I've got the time, I'd love to have a chat with you. When COVID hit last year, I launched my Smart Author System, which is my one-to-one program, put it online. But I've decided to run it live this year. So starting on the 1st of June, I'm running a 6-month program to help business owners to get their book written by November. So by November, 30th of November, you could have your book ready to be published. And that is, you know, an amazing opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to starting it very soon.
Boom! People, listen here, right? You have an opportunity to have a book written. Obviously, you've got to do the writing yourself.
You have to do everything yourself, but you will be guided through my process, and you'll get support, accountability, feedback as you write it to write your very best book.
By November, 5
By November.
months. That is fantastic. Please, Karen, if you can drop any links which talk about that event, you know, at the start, or just give people a bit more around it, if the waiting list, whatever. Obviously, drop some links in so people can come and find you. We'll come back to that in a minute. And obviously, just make sure that, you know, you're completely visible, so the people who watch this now, who watch it later, can come and check you out. Karen Bourne, she used to sell man handling courses.
Okay.
I told you, man, she's got a story in her.
Oh, I'm sure she has.
Oh, brilliant. Karen, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute honour, an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to watching you launch your program and speaking to all the people who write books with you and you know, get their success from that. That's really, really good. So people, thanks for joining us today. If you do watch on replay, do a hashtag replay, please. I am going to do something else. I haven't decided yet. And yeah, Karen, I'll see you on the other side. Guys, thanks for watching. Thank you very much. See y'all next Tuesday.